Hello, this is a presentation of a product we designed for Studio 6. Our brief was to design a parenting communication companion for deaf or deaf-mute parents with hearing children. This device will be used during the early stages of the child's life when the child is still learning sign language. The main goals of this product is to help parents better communicate their emotions, to help them discuss harder topics with their children, and also to offer more audio stimuli for the child, which is very important at an early age, when the child has to hear words in order to learn them and learn, of course, how to speak. Here we can see the space of interaction intended for this specific product. It is mainly the living room of a house. It can be any other space, but it has to be a large enough space in order to be used properly, because as we will see, the product has to be placed somewhere between the parent and the child in order to work properly. Now, the design specifications are as follows. This product has to translate sign language to spoken word. It has to translate spoken word to text. It has to communicate the parent's emotion through an indicator. It must communicate the child's tone, emotional tone. It is meant for interior use and especially the house. It must be kid-friendly, and it cannot exceed the size of 35 cubic centimeters. Now, as for the functions, this device will have to translate sign language to text. This text will be shown to the parent as a means of giving feedback to the parent, so that what he or she is saying through sign language is properly translated. So the text of what the parent is signing will be shown to them so that they know that the device is working properly. Simultaneously, this sign language will be translated to speech, and it will be broadcasted at the exact moment to the child. On the other way around, what the child is saying will be recorded and translated to text mode in order for the parent to see the exact words used by the child. Of course, this device is not meant to replace the communication, but it is meant to help and close the gap that might be there. The way this device will work is with a face tracking mechanism. To be exact, there are cameras that track the face. They know where the face is in front of them, and they use a technology that broadcasts many dots on the face in order to calculate the distance of each feature. For example, the camera can see where the brows are, the shape of the eyes and the mouth, in order to understand what's the emotional state of the parent. Now, this emotional detection will be made known to the parent and the child through a color light indicator. And of course, this indicator will be used vice versa for delivering the tone of speech that the child uses. This is very important because parents need to know the way their child is speaking to them and the tone, but it is very difficult for parents who cannot hear their child's voice. As you can see, we started off with some very weird shapes. We did a lot of sketches and we realized that the product had to be tall enough in order for the cameras to actually see the face of the parent and not see his body or lower body. We did many sketches, and we realized that the shape had to be fairly round and not have many edges or not any edges at all. We tried to get rid of all sharp edges because this product had to be friendly towards the kid, and we also tried to make it somewhat friendly and give it a human form and anthropomorphic features so that it is not scary to the child. This is almost the final design. As you can see, there are no sharp edges, and these are some preliminary sketches and 3D models. This is almost the final product. Here we can see almost being finalized and some different color variations. And here is the final product. We named him or her, I don't know, Koulis, which comes from Glikoulis, and it means cute. As you can see, we tried to make a figure that seems like is sitting and listening very carefully. We used a light white color in order for the product to blend in with the environment and not attract too much attention. But the shape that this form seems to be sitting and listening is proposing to the child, is evoking the emotion of doing the same for the child, of course. Here we can see the front view of Koulis, starting from top to bottom. We can see at the top is the head of Koulis, and inside it is the speaker. To be exact, underneath the face as we see it is a speaker that creates the sound. Number 2, below the head, is the arm, and it is used as a handle to hold the product, to move it around. Number 3, at the bottom of the hand, as you can see, is a microphone. It is not visible here, of course. It is inside the arm, and there is a very tiny hole that is not visible in this picture for the sound to travel through and to the microphone. Number 4, and in the far bottom right corner, is a button, the on-off button of the device. Here is a side view of our product, the other side, and starting again from top to bottom, we can see in the head again, but at the back of the head is the place where the cameras, the sensors are placed. We will see what are these sensors later. Number 2, and below the back of the head, is the back where the screen is placed. And at the bottom, under the screen, is number 3, the analog emotion indicator. This is a LED strip that changes color according to the emotion that is being portrayed. I would like to add here that there is a learning process, a learning program inside the device for the parent to actually get acquainted with how the device works and learn which color represents which emotion. Actually, these emotions are known to be similar, connected to a certain color, and they are similar across the planet. Psychologists and many studies show that certain colors evoke certain emotions, and they are pretty similar among all humans. Of course, it is also a learning process for the parent to understand and memorize what these mean. Number 4 is the small TL button in the bottom left corner, as we see the product in this picture. This is the settings button. It helps the user change from the settings mode to the operational mode, where it is used for communication. As you can see, it is the same shape and size as the on-off button, which is on the other side, but it has a different texture in order to help the parent distinguish which is which without having to look at it. Number 5, and next to this button, is a micro USB port, and it is used to charge the device. This device is portable, of course, and that's why we used this method to charge it. Here is a representation of the user interface, also known as UI, the UI of Coolys. On the left side is a picture where we can see how the text could be presented to the parent. Of course, here it seems like it is a script or a long speech, but actually the way it will be shown is like the text messages we receive on our phone. There will be a slight difference in position in order to show that on one side we'll have what the parent is saying, and on the other side we'll have what the child is saying. And this text will roll upwards as the conversation continues. On the right side, we have a representation of the settings menu. As you can see, there is a profile picture. This means that each parent can have a different profile with different settings and different modes enabled. You can see that we have the battery and, of course, the volume and the brightness of the device, of the screen, of course. These values can be changed manually, or they can be set to an automatic mode where the device uses its sensors to understand the environmental conditions of the place, of the space around it, and change these values according to the surrounding light and noise, probably. Over here we have the internal structure of Coolys. You can see on the left side is an exploded view. You see how each part is moving outwards in order to examine it better. And as we can see on the right side, from top to bottom again, we will analyze these components. First, number 1, and at the far top, we have the cameras. There are actually many cameras. IR cameras. IR stands for infrared, and it is important for the cameras to be infrared because we need them to work in any light situation. If it is dim, the cameras also have to be able to see the parent and not make them turn on any other lights. Of course, and these cameras, there is a camera that understands the emotion of the face, and there is another camera that tracks the face and the hands and the movement. Number 2, and underneath the cameras, is a distance sensor. This sensor gives the device feedback of whether there is something approaching the device, something moving very close, and this makes it start, because there is a sleep mode where the device is waiting and saving energy, but it is on and waiting for use, so that when the parent approaches, the device can scan the face and understand that this is one of the users. I have the profile for this user, so I will start working now. Number 3, and underneath the cameras, is a motor that actually turns the base where the cameras are placed. This gives the cameras a wider angle of view in order to give the parent more space to move around, but always behind the device. As you can see, this configuration of components gives the parent only the back of this product to be used from the back. Actually, the child has to be in front of coolies. So the device has to be in a line somewhere between the parent and the child. Number 4, and underneath the face, as we said previously, is a speaker. On the back is the screen, as you can see. It's a wide screen and a vertical screen also. Under the screen, inside the product, is the central processing unit, also known as CPU. It is placed under the arm, as we see in the right picture. At the bottom of the device, where the most space is, we placed the batteries. They also work as a weight to balance the weight of the product, since it is very tall, actually 31 centimeters tall. And as you can see, below 7 on our picture, in the bottom left corner, is number 9. It should be 8, but it is closer as we see it now. It is the micro USB port. And on the right side of the product, as we said, at the bottom of the arm of the hand, is the microphone. So the microphone also has a wide range of recording, of sensitivity around it, but the child has to be somewhere in front of the product at around 180 degrees angle. Now, for the materials, we used a matte translucent acrylic for the body of white color. This is a type of plastic that lets some light pass through it, giving it a sense of illumination. This makes it feel lighter and softer in any space. We used a one-way black semi-transparent plexiglass for the head. This means that this material is transparent enough for the cameras to see outside, but it is also opaque enough to hide the cameras from the outside, so that it doesn't seem scary or too industrial. And usually seeing the mechanism inside dehumanizes the product a lot. We used a shiny black transparent acrylic for the screen. Of course, black to be more easy for the eyes to look at. A foam rubber for the little stands. As you can see in the top right corner, the picture is the bottom of the device where these stands are placed, and they help the product not slide along surfaces and stay in place. A checkered gray fabric is used inside the eye slits, as we've seen before. These protects the speaker, and of course it lets sound pass through it. As you can see, we used only acrylics, which are a type of plastic. They are very durable, and they can withstand falling or many hits, as we are working with children, and there is the possibility of knocking the device over or throwing it or probably touching it. Of course, they are very, very light and not very hard, despite their durability. Now, at last, I would like to mention that this product is not meant to replace the communication between the parent and the child. It is meant to help them develop this communication and further this communication, and close any possible gap that is created, because usually children want to avoid their parents. They might be tempted to lie to them, and having a different language used is sometimes difficult, or sometimes kids will not bother to do that. So the parent might feel distant from the child. This device will help the parent use more difficult words, speak about harder topics, and give, of course, the child more stimulation, more audio stimulation, which is very important when the child is still learning how to speak. Of course, this is important because most parents, actually, this is uh, this is proven that most deaf parents, almost all of them, actually give birth to hearing children, which means that this gap is this problem truly exists. Moreover, this device can also be used at a later stage when the child has learned sign language. And usually parents, as we made our research, we found out that parents might use their child as a translator to another friend of their child, and they might use the child as a translator, even at school, but we're talking about the house here. So this device can help parents communicate with other visitors that come to the house and are not deaf or do not know sign language. That is all, and thank you for listening. Bye.